Good morning, good morning, good morning. We'll be starting in a few minutes, as you can see by the timer. Today I just want to tell you about some exciting stuff that's happening with the Brothers of Legacy. We have opened up a membership program, and if you click the link that's right at the bottom, boom, you can be a part of that. We got a lot of background stuff we want to share with you guys, a lot of projects that we got going on. Just the full direction of the Brothers of Legacy, and we want you to be a part of that. So we have opened up a membership. We have different levels, and it gives you an opportunity to invest in Brothers of Legacy, while at the same time learning about what we are learning to do as well. So you can really be a part of this journey. So within that, you'll be a part of our Facebook group. You'll get some apparel. You'll have an opportunity to be on screen with us during Freestyle Fridays. It is a plethora of things that are possible just being a part of this membership, and it's growing. So as we grow, you get to grow with us. So before we get started, before we join, make sure you go to that link, hit the link, and within that minute, sign up, be a part. And of course, we're going to give you a shout out for everyone that joins, and be a part of this growth, because it is important that you guys are part of this journey. It's not just about us, it's about you going in the direction that God has set us to go in. So again, hit that link, be a part, and we appreciate you. We are coming into our next season. This is season 2. We have come out of the breaks, and we are now ready to enjoy another all of the stuff that's happening around the world, politically, in our communities and things of that nature. So these conversations are going to be taken up a notch. So be a part of that. So we appreciate you as well. All right, let's get into it. Let's enjoy the show. That's it. So we'll see you on the inside. Take care. Boom! What up, y'all?
Morning.
What up? Good morning.
Hey. What is going down in the hood around here? Did y'all miss us?
Did you miss us?
Who was that on? What was that show? Was that Darnell? Was that Varnell here?
Yeah, Varnell Jones.
Did you miss me? Yeah.
Hey, Rerun. How many times I told you you're gonna be on the show? Many.
Any?
How many times you been on the show?
None. Yes.
All right, classic. What's
Welcome back, Pastor Brown. We missed you. We missed you, man.
Indeed. All right. So let's see. Make sure. Hey, Lisa is about to mess up starting early.
There you go. You come on, man. We done got over that.
Good morning. My podcast. Appreciate you guys rocking with us as well. We are officially in a season 2.
Wow.
I feel pretty season 2 officially. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Brothers of Legacy
what's
broadcast. When we don't stand out, we stand up. And I appreciate you guys hanging and rocking with us. You know, as always, make sure you share, just like my girl Lisa. She has shared. Sharing is caring. Today, we're talking about legalizing drugs. And all of the things that are going along with that. We got the face. I put it in there, man. Don't be surprised. It's going down today. What's up, Deborah? Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Deborah. Good morning to you.
Morning.
I just walk in too.
Before we get started,
Yeah.
please, AD, can we give a moment of silence for Nate Robinson? He took that beat down the other day from Jake Paul, and that was not even close to funny. I watched some of the highlight. I didn't watch the fight.
I just see that highlight when he got KO'd. Yeah, that was a bad one.
Man, when I tell you, I mean, Nate he was talking plenty of crap before all of this. And then,
so I didn't even know.
Yeah. He was talking. I'm doing it for the culture. I'm doing it for this.
Not for the culture.
Yeah.
Oh, because he was white, right? The guy was.
Yeah, J. Paul. Yeah.
And he got KO'd. Oh,
dude, he should have had an endorsement with melatonin because he was asleep. I'm telling you.
I scene from Friday. That was a Debo knockout.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It wasn't even close.
Man,
Like,
the memes
dude.
have been crazy. The memes have been crazy.
Oh man. For real.
Wow. All right. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Roll that
Wait. I lost it. I can't find it, but there it
Thanks,
goes.
I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning, everybody.
All right, guys, in the building. So today we're talking about legalizing all drugs. It's just a lot of them. Oh, you know what I lost was the state that started it, but I think it was Minnesota. If I'm not
Minnesota. Mistaken. Oh, you know, are you talking not recreational? Are we talking about hardcore?
The hardcore stuff. I mean, we gotta dig into that too, the recreational.
Okay.
Hold on. Somehow dang on it.
I want to know why I can't find.
I had it up here. Forgive me, guys. I got all these other Oregon. All right. Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon start. Yeah.
And basically, to put it in correct perspective, Oregon decriminalized the possession of hard drugs. They still maintained if you are carrying enough to distribute or to sell, that's still, a felony. You still catch and arrest. I think they've lowered the bar as far as I think there's misdemeanors as well, but just to have enough for personal use, I think it's been decriminalized and more of a push for rehabilitation.
Right.
Oh, Dwayne Goosey said the big dog is back.
The big dog is back.
Morning.
I said, welcome back.
Come back. I've been here for years.
You've been in the background.
Daryl Sports Car Lady in the building. Good morning. And Mama McCory in the building. Great morning to you. So my question, right? So they named heroin and cocaine and methamphetamine. This was just in the article, so it's not the official legislation. Might be more in there, might be less. But that was some of the things mentioned. How do you? So starting off. Starting off.
I want to thank everybody for your thoughts and your prayers.
Yes, indeed.
I want to thank you all for your support. We felt every one of them. If you sent a card, if you sent a flower, whatever you did, we saw it, we felt it, and my family appreciates all of you. All right, go ahead, man.
No, you good. You good. We're excited.
First lady in the building, though. Gotta the nice. Yeah, she goes.
Greetings.
Let me tell y'all something. Real quick before we get started. This one, put it coming back up real quick, AD, if you don't mind. Let me tell y'all something about First Lady Christelle. Is it Christelle? I really want to call her Crystal, like the wine.
You got it right.
I know that's all right. But First Lady, when I tell you that woman love her husband. Like for real, like if y'all ever get to see any of her videos where because there was a plethora, a host of videos that she posted like for his birthday, and everybody did the Dallas Cowboy thing and all that. She is such a supportive and loving wife, and I said, Melissa, my wife, if you want to learn how to do it. And first lady, if you're listening to me, I appreciate what you do for Pastor, and you ain't even married me. I'm just saying. I appreciate it. Moving on.
Cole Johnson.
Thank you, Cole. Appreciate you, man.
Many continued blessings to you and yours. Many condolences. All right. Let's see. He said, "Welcome back, Pastor." And yes, we are excited for Pastor being back. The additional voice. So
We're excited. Yeah.
me and him can fight about some things. I've missed it.
Yeah, we're about to fight about this legalization of drugs.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Lily.
There's a lot to it. That's for sure.
All right. All right. So starting off, how do you guys feel about, because we always talked about we've probably talked about the war on drugs, and we know the war on drugs have why are you inviting trouble in your house? Right.
I'm just saying, if you want to learn how to do it, she has,
so we talk about the war on drugs and how it's not, although some have said it's not really worked for our community. It's put more of a target on our back. And how do you guys feel? And for a long time, I've heard people saying, criminalizing those that have or just are users, whereas we're not dealing with the dealers as much. More users get locked up than dealers and things of that nature. The arguments are those, and of course the other argument is how is this stuff getting from one country into our neighborhoods and all of those kind of arguments. So how do you guys feel about decriminalizing personal use of drugs? And we're talking
straight cop out.
It's a trap.
Straight cop out, because you can't justify methadone clinics. You can't justify, clinics for the people who don't look like us, who are drug addicts, compared to what you did to us who were drug addicts. And so now the only option that you have is to begin to soften the penalties for these things, because you can't stop white people from doing dope.
That's right. I agree with you. I mean, I was reading an article just the other day where there was a young man who, I think it's a trap. I think this whole drug thing is a trap. Because there was this young man who just served 31 years in prison for a nonviolent marijuana charge. 31 years. A young brother. And to me, this whole drug thing it's a trap. It's a cop out, like Pastor Brian said. These folks are just lazy. They don't want to now convict these crimes. And it's like, oh, well, it's drugs, especially recreational drugs like marijuana. That's making these states money. You look at that Washington State over here by me, and Oregon and all that. I mean, they're making, they're making millions of dollars a year just for allowing marijuana in the state. Now, you can't go and smoke a bong in the middle of the street. You can't do that. I mean, there's rules to it, but it's still you allowing this thing in these states, making a bunch of money, and they're saying, it's okay, but for us, it's a trap. I think that's just me.
Okay.
I don't think it's any more of a trap than it has been, for us. There's always, to Cole's point, there's always going to be a way to figure out how to prosecute minorities. There's always going to be opportunity to prosecute minorities. But I do think that, and I didn't mean to make such a comment that was along the racial lines, but the reality is there's an epidemic when it comes to addiction that they're struggling to control, and they can't just lock everybody up. They're going to have to find funding for this stuff because they can't hide it anymore.
Right.
So that's the reality. So the best course of action is to soften the blow from a legalization standpoint, so that they can create funding sources. Right. That's the reality.
Right.
We know money always flows when policy changes and things of that nature. I do feel that it is that's probably the best way to put it. I never thought about that word. It is kind of a cop out, after you beat us in the head over the 90s and beginning of 2000, it's like, there's more of us are starting to look like we're on it. We need to change the laws, change the rules a little bit. because what was the whole not meth? Is it not meth? What's the other one? The pain pills, that
Oxycodone.
and they what did they say? It's not what it's a disease or something, right? Then they call it something else. It's the name begin to change. It's a mental health issue.
Yeah,
Um,
opioids and things like that. But
yeah, it became like a mental health issue. Not they started turning how you looked at the drug addicts and trying to change the narrative. I think because more of them were on that than we were. The country already makes money off of drugs being legal or illegal. He said now excuses the government to make more money, big money above board of drug selling. Yes, using and distributing. Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. They've gotten to a place where you
who
can't use the CIA, you can't
Right.
use the DEA,
Right.
right, to secretly move money. Everything has been exposed,
Right.
and so now they have to legalize it so that they can make real money.
Yeah,
And not have,
they
not
got
have
they
to
got to
hide it.
launder it.
Yeah,
they
they
Right.
don't have to hide it. Yeah.
Wow. So moving into that, because I was reading the article and it said one of the problems with legalizing it in such a drastic manner is the fact there's not enough rehabs. Or now, well, one person said the problem is when people get sentenced, they usually get sentenced into a drug rehabilitation program. Certain ways to keep them in the system so that they get the necessary help needed. So they can get off drugs and things of that nature. They're feeling like there's going to be more because if you're not busting them, then they're just going to smoke or do whatever they're going to do until either they decide to get off or die from like an overdose or things of that nature.
Right.
What do you think about the the drug dealers? Like, because Cole said something. Hold on. And I was thinking about the drug dealers said no, it would be another way for marginalizing, criminalizing crimes among color lines even more. And like you said, Pastor, I think it just gives the government an opportunity to really turn around and not see the more drugs coming into the community because a little bit, whatever they qualify as, not enough to prosecute, will be part of the problems that the color barrier when the drug problem turns into a drug epidemic. Right. Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, it has already, the prescription drugs has already been an epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
If you consider the things that are going on up in the Northeast, I mean, it's out of control and has been for years.
Long time.
Yeah. So we're already there. We've been there for a while. That's nothing new. I think again, it just goes back to you're not able to establish enough of a pace to keep up with the outbreak of this epidemic, this drug addiction. So you have to soften the blow. The penalty has to be softened, and you have to create avenues to support these individuals, make it safer for them to do it. That's really it, and they'll create programs to do that.
Right.
Like out here in Idaho where I'm at, that's a huge opioid epidemic out here.
Absolutely,
it's really bad out here. So they couldn't legalize stuff out here because this state will go completely in a ride if they did that, because the majority of the population, between 50 and 60% of the population out here, all across the state of Idaho, are addicted to either opioid or methamphetamines, and they cannot, legalize. That's why they hadn't talked about it here. I think Governor Little had it on his desk to pass it, and he was like, and so he didn't, because they couldn't, because it would destroy. And there's no way they could fund it. There's no way they could have another program because half of the state is addicted. And so no.
Where does her narrative live? She said it's
So where do you live?
Meth capital here. If it ain't Idaho, I don't know where she lives, because that's where.
What's up, Helsino? Thanks for rocking. So let's pivot a little bit, because he brought up that conversation. Weed, the legalization of marijuana.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
What's you guys' initial thoughts on just that basic part of the conversation?
Being that the person that used to partake of the, I think.
Being a former
Montana, you down the road from me, girl.
Okay.
Weed. I think weed. I don't know. I think it's wrong, right? But you ain't never heard nobody OD.
It's wrong, right?
Oh, weed.
I was waiting for you. I was gonna point that out. Wrong, right?
You was wrong.
I don't want to be right.
But it's not wrong. But like I said, you ain't never heard nobody OD on marijuana. I think it's the medical part of it is good, right? I mean, because you can, I mean, for cataracts and things of that nature, like Bernie Mac said on Friday, he was like, give me a little bit from the cataract. But you can't walk around with like a half ounce on you, you know, or a brick. Don't do that. But I think it can't be bad though. I mean, Washington State, they crime has gone down.
Let me get Mr. Goodson in the building.
Hey, get him in here.
All right, so let's bust out some of these comments real quick.
What's up, buddy?
What up?
Cole said, to your point, Pastor, I've always felt good morning. Overuse was an epidemic. It just angers me that those addicted to it were considered criminals off rip. Yeah. Now keeping this being pushed nationwide. I have scopes up at my dispensary. Halcino said, why are you coughing? Past tense. He's asking Terry.
Because I sleep. The reason why I'm coughing, sir, is because my bed ain't right. And so I sleep. My head is lower than my body. That's what it is. And so I get up. Her new narrative says legal marijuana is a gateway to the hard stuff.
I don't know if I've ever.
How was that?
I mean, that's been the narrative push for a while.
That's what people say, but I don't know if I look, because I've smoked a lot of marijuana. I ain't never did nothing else.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I don't care if weed is legal or not. I know there needs to be some sort of limits, just like it is with alcohol overuse, right? Marijuana should be illegal. That's Dwayne said that. He's in the building. Marijuana is recreational and medical in Nevada.
Yeah.
Weed is a gateway. Is excuse people use to excuse things that they do. Okay. Cole says
I agree. I agree with that 100%.
She said because she don't want to take responsibility. Oh, okay. He said I'm rolling up now. Really?
All right, man. Don't be doing that. Come on.
Yeah, don't take shots. Don't take shots at each other like that because you don't know, bro. You don't know her story.
Yeah. She's got one. She told me her story yesterday, and she's got one for real. Like no joke.
It's some good stuff.
I'm telling you.
But what do you say? Look, I know Terry ain't really did nothing because Terry said walk around with a half an ounce.
Yeah.
Bro,
I'm just I know one around a half ounce.
No, that's why I said I know you ain't never smoked that because you talking about walking around with a half an ounce. You know how much weed a half ounce is?
I don't know. I smoke some. I mean, I'm not saying I ain't Snoop Dogg or nothing. But I smoke, I would say this. I'm not a professional. I wasn't a professional, never have been a professional. I sucked at it because my lungs were horrible. My lungs were horrible. I'm just saying, I mean, when I tried to smoke a little bit of the herb, I take one hit and I'm high because I would take that one hit and I would cough for 10 minutes. Right. So, with people who smoke weed, I tell you, the more you cough, the higher you get, right? So that was me.
That's
for real. For replay. When it comes to that.
Yeah, it's because I ain't cough, and I still got plenty high.
I got bad lungs, bro. I can't do that. That's why I can't catch corona.
So bad lungs. That's why I can't. So, I can't. Pastor, how do you? What's your take on the legalization of the marijuana? Let's see.
Sold him rich.
As a former smoker, I never had a position For me, it was, if it's legal, release all the folks that are locked up.
That part.
The
Right.
challenge is they're locked up because they got arrested when it was illegal, so they broke the law.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there should be some level of reevaluation. It makes no sense to legalize it and keep all those folks locked up.
I agree with that, definitely. 100%.
That's just, I don't know there's nothing more to say about that. But I also think that people are going to be people. I'm of the mindset, remember, I got to go to Bible, and I don't want anything to disrupt my channel of communication with God. If it's going to mess with your channel of communication, if it's going to reduce the purity of your vessel, of your church,
Right.
Your temple,
Right.
you need to leave it alone. It's really just that simple. Now, as far as legalizing versus making it, illegal, all I say is this: we have had targets on our back since the beginning. We would get out of here with targets on our back. So choose wisely, grasshopper. That's all. I don't,
Choose wisely.
because we got so many people locked up for weed that it's ridiculous, and people were locked up for ridiculous amounts of weed. They just needed an excuse. So as far as I'm concerned, it should have never been illegal. I'm not trying to promote going out and getting high or anything like that.
Don't do that. No, don't do that.
I just feel like it was a joke from the beginning.
Right.
I think Cole said something, there's when they legalize drugs, there's always going to be somebody that has some level of tainted drug that's different than what you find on the streets or in the stores or whatever the case might be. This is what you get in the store, but this is what you get over here.
Right.
So what difference does it make?
Yeah.
It's all about the money at the end of the day. And I have to say that I agree with Pastor wholeheartedly. The reason, I've always had my theories about why weed is illegal. And both of them went back to money. Whether it was the money that the prison complex made for people in it, or whether it's the money the government can't make because somebody's selling it. So if they legalize it, then they find a way to tax it and get some type of revenue that way. If it's morality, then you're gonna fill prisons up and you're gonna get money that way. So it always goes back to the money. And when the government finds the most efficient way of making money off of it, that's what it becomes. Let's not talk about drugs and act like we care, because the honest to God truth about it is it doesn't care about a skin color or anything else, but it is generally promulgated by a certain skin color. Like we say things all the time, but why do you think cocaine became an issue in our black neighborhoods at one point didn't have drug issues? Mm-hmm. I know it's hard for y'all to believe that, some of y'all, but we didn't have drug issues, and we didn't introduce the drug issues to our community. Some of y'all better go back and do a little bit of study of history. There was this guy by the name of J. Edgar Hoover. He used to be the director of the CIA, the FBI. And when he was the director of the FBI, he had a lot of plans to denuclearize or decentralize a lot of those positive black influences in the community, i.e. the Black Panther Party for community improvement, things of that nature. People who didn't have any convictions, no crime outside of, hey, let's get rid of them. Hey, let's go out to the Bay. Let's go out to Oakland. Let's put some heroin in these ghettos and see how a person acts. So it's been that. And here's the reality of it. It's been right in your face, because the government has declassified files that says that J. Edgar Hoover authorized these things. And now it goes beyond just our community, because like I said, drugs don't discriminate. If you white and you doing drugs, yeah, you're gonna be a white crackhead. If you black and you doing drugs, you're gonna be a black
criminal.
crackhead.
Right.
Well, yeah, that difference too. That one for real. But yeah, legality of drugs.
Right.
It's all about money and where that money is gonna come from. So it doesn't hold much merit to me. Because we got prisons, they got methadone clinics.
Right. Right.
Kind of the same thing, right? D?
Well, I mean,
it's kind of the same thing.
I will say yes. We weren't the gateways to getting it into our neighborhoods. I will say we do still have a responsibility to our personal responsibility to the action and things that we do.
Right.
Because the one thing I don't like. I mean, I get getting 30 years for having a nickel bag of weed, is ridiculous. Like we know the laws are uneven and unequal, but at the same time, we need to sometimes try as best as possible to stay out of the light or the keep the target off our back, by doing things that get us into these positions. I mean, there's still a level of personal responsibility, but like I said, I think sometimes the legalization of weed and me and Sam kind of got into it. I said I'm not totally for it, but at the same time, I don't want my son to go to jail for 40 years because his boy had a small bag of weed in the car. Like even if he wasn't smoking it, yes, he shouldn't have been around. It shouldn't have been with illegal drugs, but it's there are consequences to actions, but sometimes there's just overreach of the law, and it's that moment that you just like, yeah, if it's legal, I guess it'll lessen the chances of my son, or my daughter get into trouble, or even people in my neighborhood, not just my family, but it affects everybody. That's my thought. I mean,
can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, you can.
So I know Sam said that because we briefly talked about it before, and she was like, no. She was like, I seen what it can do to families, and I didn't, because it's her, I didn't want to completely dismiss it, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm trying to think of how bad weed can be on a family, because I'm trying to see it from her point of view, but I can't. So I mean, can you shed any light, because she said it does. And you're right. All drugs have a different effect on everybody. Yes, sir.
I was waiting. The teacher's talking, so I'm just waiting.
No, I was just trying before I not go in on her answer, but before I blatantly disagree based on my experience. Can you shed some light as to why she feels that way?
Go ahead, Pastor. You can answer first.
Before Christ, I smoked weed. Weed interrupted my walk with Christ.
Right.
So it wasn't just before Christ.
Point number one.
It was in Christ.
Right.
But they did on both sides of the fence.
Right.
I felt justified because I felt like, I'm not hurting anybody. But I'll tell you something. The first time I stopped smoking weed, I stopped smoking because my younger brother smoked more weed than me. Mm-hmm. But I was the finance.
Okay.
So I would buy it and he would smoke it.
Oh. That sounds unfair.
Weed is an addiction.
That's so fair.
Listen, yeah, but you ask, what impact does it have to family?
Right.
Mm-hmm. When you have an addiction, you will take from family to support your habit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just money. You will take sobriety.
Right.
Because the Bible talks about being sober-minded, right? So when you're not sober-minded, you are less impacting, less effective.
Right.
in dealing with your family, in dealing with life. So you're robbing your family of time. You're robbing your family of resources. You're
Right.
robbing your family of quality
Right.
when you have an addiction. And addiction
Right.
negatively impacts
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
ecosystem, whatever village that you're in. Anyone that has an addiction is essentially robbing or sucking blood out
Right.
of that
Right.
family unit. So
Right.
it does rob you. It does have a negative impact. And I don't care what your addiction is. You can be addicted to cocaine.
Right.
You could be addicted to alcohol. You could be addicted to weed. You
Right.
could be addicted to gambling. I don't care what your addiction is.
Right.
It's going to rob quality
Somebody.
from your family.
Agreed.
And I completely agree with that. I asked the question because I hate to go in on anybody's opinion.
Right.
And
I'll hold on. Let me just tell you my side, and then I'll let you go in. Oh,
okay.
So, I mean, I've had a few people. I won't say like a lot that I know. Well, I know one guy. I do. You know, we say weed is a natural thing. Yes, it is. But with everything that your body ingests, each one of our biology and our body is a composite differently. So our reaction to things are always different. You know,
Right.
like some people, and we know it. Like we know people that drink and get to chill,
Yeah.
and then we know people that drink and they get
wanna
loud
fight.
and obnoxious. Like
Yeah.
there's that level, right? From one to
Right.
the other. Weed is the same thing, and I've known several people that have been, you know, their minds are almost like comatose all the time. You know, even with if they not just had a blunt, because and I was doing some research and studying about like how it hinders brain development, you know, especially if you start teenager or younger.
Right.
As well as I've seen it, you know, people get addicted to weed. I you know, just like you get addicted to alcohol, just like you get addicted to anything else, you still get addicted to weed. And it becomes, you know, now it's not like it's not been known, at least at crackhead level, where you go on to rob and steal and jack somebody's household for it. But at the same time, I know of people that take money that's needed for this and they use it for that. You know, and there are people that can't even function a day without smoking.
Yeah.
You know, and
I know people like that.
And you know, weed, and honestly, not to put cigarettes better, but weed and cigarettes are two different things.
Two different.
And hold on, let me just explain why. You know, like they both do much. They can do damage to your lungs because weed, you're still inhaling something into your lungs and smoke and all that. But I know cigarettes has nicotine and stuff. But you can't. I won't say you can't. But going to like on a smoke break, where they say smoke 30, you can smoke a cigarette, get back to work, and still function. Whereas weed is like getting a drink. I'm gonna do a little drinky drink and then get back to work because it does inhibit, you know, your behavior, your cognitive responses and things of that nature.
Mind altering.
So you know, cigarettes are the same as crack.
Come on, Hasina, that's not true.
Listen,
that's
okay,
not true.
you know, all right.
Yeah,
you're speaking facts, man. It's true, but when you say cigarettes cannot be compared to crack cocaine, but you compare cigarettes to weed, all of these substances negatively impact the body.
Yeah.
Right. Anything that. So how can I put this? The Bible says this. I'm gonna read the scripture. I'm not gonna turn this into a Bible study.
No worries. And then we're gonna let you go, Dwayne, because I know you got.
No, and I think I know where Pastor going with this, and I like it already.
I'm just going to 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, 19 and 20. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of God, and you are not your own. You are not your own. For you are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. So to me, these things speak to the care of your body. It speaks to the care of your body. So anything that you do that
What's up,
negatively impacts the care of your body should be done away with.
Right.
When you compare weed to cigarettes, you say, I can smoke a cigarette and go back to work. But when you go smoke a cigarette, that nicotine works on your body.
Right.
It's tearing, it goes to work while you go to work.
Right. No doubt.
And a lot of us miss this. We look at the outward thing and we forget what's going on the inside. Right? We talk about the less impact of weed externally, but we don't think about the impact that's going on internally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a breakdown in your body. You smoke enough weed, it impacts how you think.
Right.
All right. You smoke enough cigarettes, it impacts how you breathe.
Right.
It's going to impact something. So you're tearing away at your body. So you're actually doing harm to something that you were assigned to steward over.
Yes.
We are stewards of our bodies.
True. Yeah.
Right. And what happens is when we're not properly when we're not properly stewarding over our bodies, what do you do if you don't take care of something? What happens to it? You lose it.
Yep, gradually.
Right. So why would our bodies be any different than our investments, than our bank account?
Right.
Why would our bodies be any different than how we raise our children?
That's right.
Why would how we eat? Absolutely. I need to exercise more. I need to do more to take care of my body because I'm not being an effective steward if I don't take care of this temple that God gave me to steward over.
Right.
But it's one thing to not exercise, but it's another thing to do something that intentionally tears down your body. And any substance abuse is going to tear down it's intentionally breaking down your body. And what I've learned is you have to be a fool to take something knowing that is going to tear your body up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just like eating that macaroni and cheese last night, knowing it's going to tear my stomach. But I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
But it's everything in moderation.
Yes.
Right. You don't have to overconsume the macaroni and cheese.
Right.
I did just
right. Don't gorge. Do what is right.
Right.
Get yourself to the point of satisfaction. Just don't overdo it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to drugs, see the food that God gives us, the things that we're able to put into our body that helps us, that gives us the nutrients and everything like that, that's great. You just don't overdo it. Everything in moderation. But that's different than taking something that you know tears your body down. I mean, are you going to walk outside and stand in the middle of the street knowing that you could get hit by a car?
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, but so the mitigation is I know I have no business in the street. So if I'm not going to go out there stand in the middle of the street daring cars to hit me, then why would I even play in the street?
Right.
And
somebody said earlier about your associations that you were talking about your children, right? I tell my children, you have to be careful who you hang around. One of two things is going to happen. You're either going to draw them into where you are, or they're going to draw you out to where
they are.
Right.
There's only two things that are going to happen. You're going to draw them in, or they're going to draw you out.
Influence for being influenced.
Absolutely. You hang around long enough, you're going to take a toll. It's just that simple. You cannot continue to associate. Here's somebody said this. Somebody said, and I'm going off on a tangent.
It's all right. You've been going for a minute.
We missed your tangent.
You're due.
That's why I'm sitting up and listening.
I have learned that my life, that the calling on my life, the purpose of my life is so much greater than the things that I have associated myself with.
Absolutely.
Right.
Am I right?
I think that's true for most of us.
Right. So what we have to do is learn earlier what is conducive, what is constructive, and what is destructive.
Right.
smoke, and I still hung with my friends that didn't smoke once. Yeah, but you know what? You learned what the consequences were.
Right.
You smoked first and realized this is not for me.
Right.
I want to speak to those who are contemplating and let them know you don't even have to go there.
Right. Right.
Because what you will say to somebody is, don't do that. The Bible says we overcome him, the devil, by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony. Because you've been there, you've experienced it, you know it's not good for you, you've learned from that, and so you already understand it. So it's easy to be out there. I can go around folks who smoke weed now.
Right.
Because I know what the other side is.
Right.
Right. So I'm saying it, but I've learned that my purpose is so much greater than that.
Right.
So we can debate about legalization and all that kind of stuff. That's all. It's great content. It's great commentary and all of that. But the reality is, as God's chosen people, we have no business with that stuff. We just don't.
And see, and my side of it is just like what y'all have said in this in over the last 10 minutes. It's a different conversation on top legalization versus the other side. So with the legalization part, okay, if we're gonna when it comes to the discussion for legalization, all you can do is bring hard facts to the table, not a whole lot of opinion when it comes to the legalization part.
Right.
And when you come to that part of that conversation, you cannot talk about weed like it's crack cocaine. I've never seen, and I know just because I said I never seen doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but that's the exception, not the rule, right? Alcohol, as a police officer, alcohol was more of the reason we responded to calls than any other illicit drug, period. Alcohol is legal. Right. Legal alcohol. You see somebody flip out, beat the crap out of their girl, put her in ICU. I ain't never seen nobody do that on weed. I ain't saying it ain't never happened on weed. I'm just saying that's not the norm. As far as stealing from your mama, beating your mama up to go get whatever it takes, I've never seen a weed head do that. And I'm not saying it ain't never happened, but it's nowhere near normal.
Right.
And then let me, like Pastor, I gotta be transparent here, because some people speak about things from the other side and never did it. I didn't consider myself a weed head, but if I didn't smoke every day, I smoked every other day. I want a blunt to wake up, a blunt to keep going, and a blunt to go to sleep. But at the same time, I know people with PhDs who you wouldn't know who were smokers. I know people who run their own businesses who I don't think that weed should be on the level of scrutiny that most people put it on, because unless you're smoking some of this what people call rapper weed anyway, it ain't that. I ain't gonna tell people it ain't that bad, because what happens is the second part of that conversation, which what Pastor was focusing on, is the addictive natures. Now, weed does not become an addiction for everybody, because I know some people who were able to pick it up, put it down like it was nothing. Mm-hmm. And I understand what you're saying, AD, about everybody is affected different, because I have one niece who, you remember on Tyler Perry, you remember the auntie on the front porch that was like, you see that rabbit? And she was like, I got one niece that when she attempts to smoke, she's like that lady.
Gotcha.
One puff, and she's the most paranoid person you will ever meet in your life. I got nephews who can smoke them back to back to back to back and then go work 10 hours. So it does affect different people differently.
I will say, I get what you're saying. I get what Halcino's saying. Sometimes what people don't focus on is not the fact that I can smoke and be in my profession. It's my interaction outside of my profession with my family, with my neighbors, my friends, that change the dynamic. because a lot of times, weed gets you on a high, right? Let's clearly say that it gets you on a high, and it disconnects you.
I don't know if it disconnects me. Well, for me, it didn't disconnect me.
I think so. Let me say this. The reality of your perspective versus the reality of what actually happens are two different things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
You may not feel disconnected. I say this to people. A lot of times we can hear ourselves talking, but we don't know how we sound.
Right.
There were times that I was intoxicated and I thought I really had a word.
Right.
And if I were to go back and listen to the recording of myself,
right,
I'd be like, what in the world?
Right.
So when your state has been altered, when your state of mind has been altered, you may feel connected to everything, but everything is disconnected from you because your state of mind has been altered.
Right.
So it's difficult, and there's levels to this, right?
Right.
A shot of whiskey for a 118-pound grown man is going to be different than a shot of whiskey for a 265-pound grown man.
Right.
So there's levels to this. There's certain people that have certain levels of tolerance, right? But if I'm sitting with you and your tolerance for heroin is at such a state because you've been doing heroin for years and I'm doing it for my first time, are we gonna take the same hit and be okay? Nah.
No.
My first hit could
not.
kill me because my tolerance does not match yours. And so I know it's different for everybody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is it's not good for anybody.
Right.
This is not a question of whether or not you can handle it. The question is whether or not it's right to do.
Well,
that's the question. Somebody put adultery. Yeah.
Let's pose this question because
before you hold that question, we're gonna take a quick break because I'm trying to fit it in here. I know it was getting heated. All right. Speaking of posing questions, we are Purposeful Forever tonight at 8 o'clock p.m. We have a special guest, a super special guest, and I'm excited to have them on. Stay tuned.
Bishop.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's going to be an awesome show. Naturality.
Question that I wanted to ask Pastor. One's a comment and then followed up by a second part question. And the first 1 Corinthians 10:23. It says, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are expedient. We've heard that statement several times. And the reason why I'm using this statement with weed is because weed, cannabis, the cannabis plant is absolutely 100% natural. I'm not talking about all the extra stuff that's done with lab work and everything else. I'm not talking about upping the THC level by adding chemical compounds and altering the plant. The plant itself was created by God. And we all know Genesis 1:29, God said all seed-bearing plants are good. And after He's created it, well, seasoning or not, well, okay. So take smoke. So take smoking away, AD. There's several.
I get it.
And I understand. So what I'm saying is the way you use it doesn't change. I mean, it alters, but it doesn't change the feel. If you cook with it, you're gonna get the same. You're gonna get the same benefits as if you put it in some paper and smoked it. That you're not gonna get a different. It's gonna give you the same benefits, the same feeling. Right?
He's gonna come back.
And it's like sage, it's like dill, it's like Italian seasoning. Any other thing that you putting on your food, it's basically the same thing. So my question is, the reason why I put 1 Corinthians 10 first before I made the comment, because with that, I understand that just because I can do something, and this is where I agree with you guys, don't mean I should do it, because everything has an effect. Just because you can drink, don't mean you should drink, right? The Bible says don't be drunk. It didn't say don't drink, don't be drunk. So there's a limit. And for each one of us, that limit is different. If each one of us had the same amount of alcohol right now, every last one of us would be affected differently. So you have to know that whatever it is you're engaging in, although it may not be sin, you have to deal with the effects. And for instance, we just had Thanksgiving, and we all know how Thanksgiving rolls, right? So on Thanksgiving, I bet you 90% of anybody watching this show or anything else won't eat, right?
Right.
Yeah, y'all know y'all overate. Y'all overate.
Ebony.
Some of you had like 4 pieces of pies on your plate.
Right.
Some of you ate leftovers 30 minutes after you ate the first meal. Now, can you do that? Yes, you can. Now, when you get into the gluttony, okay, it may be sin, but some of you been eating that pig and everything else. There ain't nothing wrong with it. But just know that you eating that pig may give you high blood pressure. It may give you high cholesterol. Now, that is the thing that you're going to have to deal with. So morality, legality, and then what's best for you, I think, are 3 different things that you have to be you have to be in communication with God to the point where you can hear God speak to you. No, that's not good for you. No, if you want to live for extra 10 years, you might want to cut back on the pig and the fried foods. I think weed falls in this same category, which some of us, I think a little bit of religiosity can get in the way of seeing that it's no difference.
Right.
Am I making any sense?
You're making sense for the people who want to smoke weed.
He's making it make sense.
Let me say this.
But I want to go.
What does James 1:15 say?
Let's see.
Find that.
And so while you looking for that,
Yes.
the comment of the day goes to Ebony Foster.
So he said they ain't selling the nectar.
They're not selling that to the paprika.
Did you find it, Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay, what does James 1:15 say?
Then when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin, and when sin it is finished, it brings death.
So what does James 1:14 say?
Okay, let me get this in context. Okay. 14 says, but each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed.
Okay. So
Hey, Cyber.
what drives the desire for weed? What are you looking to get from it?
You're probably looking for that high, that feeling. You're looking for the feeling.
Okay. All right. So what profit is that high for a child of God?
Crickets.
That's it. There's no profit. You said lawful but not expedient. You're right. It may be within your right, but it's not expedient for your walk.
And there is no disagreement. I 100% agree with you there. But not everybody is making your argument, sir.
I know.
So that argument I agree with. So most people argument is not about what it's going to do to your salvation. Most people argument is
that point right there. Now, my point, that's why I go back to what's driving the desire, because now we're moving into the world of sin because you're talking about lusting after something that is not conducive to your walk with God. Because if I'm lusting after something that has no value to my walk with God, then what does it do with my motivation for my walk with God?
That's right.
And once again, for the sake of this conversation, the overall conversation, legalization of weed, that's a completely different conversation than reality of, because reality and what it and the seriousness of it, and you're talking about us walking, different story. You're 100% correct. I 100% agree with you. However, just legalization, I feel the same way I feel about most things.
I know, I agree with you on legalization. I agree with you there. I'm saying to you, I don't listen. Give people the option. When I started this conversation earlier, an hour ago, I'm like, I'm not going to argue the legalization piece because my feeling is open the jail doors for all the people that you locked up because they're locked up for something that is legalized, right? So they used to do the same thing with alcohol. They couldn't stop it, so they legalized it, right? Yeah. So that I agree with you. I don't have any. I'm not trying to, but I felt like it was important to insert this point before we got out of this conversation, so that people don't walk away saying, "Oh, that preacher was on there talking about weed, legalizing weed, and all that." No.
Right.
I'm gonna give you what the Bible says, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't care what they do with
this good will not be evil spoken of here.
Yeah. Pastor came back with a bang. He came in like a wrecking ball. Okay, so Harrison asked the question down in the comments. You say, "It's so CBD okay?" It's CBD okay? Now I think
for those of you that don't know what CBD is, CBD
the cannabis oil.
It's the chemical compound that's found in cannabis that's minus the THC that gives you that high feeling.
Your spiritual butterfly. What's going on?
Extract. Thank you. Extract.
And has to know that the herbs for the healing of the earth.
And there are. I mean, we always talk about natural, and I get it, and I dig it, but there are poisonous mushrooms as well. So. You know, like, I mean, I feel you on the natural part, but what I'm saying, you know, and like, when it comes to this, and there's a term called like a functioning alcoholic, you know, just because you can.
That's an oxymoronic statement. I don't know who came up with that.
Oh, it's a true.
It's a true statement. It's a true statement.
It's oxymoronic still.
It's true because you
maybe, but it's still true.
It's true.
Functioning.
I lived in it. So just like Pastor was saying, the perspective of, you know, you think you're functioning, but you ain't really there.
You ain't really functioning.
Exactly. Really
That's why it's oxymoronic.
I ain't gonna call folk out, but you ain't really there. You there?
I guess the only.
You can go to work because, like Pastor been doing his job for a long time. You know, like I'm sure he can probably do some things and still function. And they be like, "Yo, Pastor B is on it,
all right,
on it." You know, like I know folks that have worked with me. They just it's natural because they've been doing it so long. It's like so repetitive. They know, okay, we're going to do this, do this, do this. You know, so I mean, I never comparing what you do as far as work. And it's comparison to, you know, when you're either intoxicated or high or whatever, because some people just know how to function even in the midst of being full of whatever it is in the moment. So I mean, I dig what you're saying about the naturalness, and I know the pork and all that. I mean, pork is natural too if you think about it, but we should eat it. I mean, like there you hit me with the natural, I hit you with the natural.
I know, but see that was the only reason I even use pork is because people are quick to say you shouldn't be eating that unclean animal. Paul settled that a long time ago. So I mean, I'll indulge in a conversation with a person about what you eat, but it's like, here's my thing. People use conversations like this not to identify what we can and can't do, but people try to, let me try to find the right for it. People try to, they try to turn into something that you can legalize. You can't. You can't legislate. Is legislate a word? Legislate. You can't
electric slide. That's a phrase.
No,
Oh, not that.
legislate.
Okay.
No, you can't legislate. Is all.
Not that. Okay.
They try to legislate morality. I think this is one of those things where you on the legalizing part only, not on the morality of it, not on the sin level. Where is it going to lead you to? But legalization only. People are trying to legalize morality. This is like America. I understand, and I'm a Christian all day long, and I'm never going to go against the will of God. And even when I do physically fall and go against the will of God, even when I physically fall and go against the will of God, I still acknowledge the will of God as being right and correct, and I get myself back right with it. So my only thing is, when this whole world is said and done with for us individually, we're going to each have to sit and give an account to God and legislate your life for you.
Coop.
So my thing is, I as my brother, I can come to Terry, I can come to AD, I can come to Pastor, and I can be like, hey, I understand that you can do this A, B, and C, but this is the way I feel about it because you're my brother, and I think I have that room, and you guys have that permission with me. You have that room. Hey, Dwayne, bro, you interacting with people in them comments in ways you may that might be dangerous. You might want to watch yourself. You guys can do that to me,
right?
But at the end of the day, I am accountable for what I do. Yes, it's great to have accountability partners, but I can't legislate living right. You can't do it. And I do take offense to it because most people take more time trying to tell people what they can't do and why they can't do it, as opposed to getting in the trenches with them and being like, look, I've been there, done that. This is why it's wrong. Let's find a way through it. And not saying this panel, but most people who are against weed, I guarantee you, when you open up their little book, there's 15 other things wrong that they're doing. So my thing is this: I need people to stop trying to legislate morality. What you do will speak volumes more than what you say any day of the week. And I mean, and when you want to bring it to a broad point of view, how many Republicans right now are ignoring the needs of 20 plus million people in this country because of homosexuality and because of abortion? Because they're trying to legalize, they're trying to legislate morality, and they're not giving a crap about a whole nother 20 million people because of, and that's the only thing, that's the only point. I'm not trying to say out here for each and everybody to go out there and smoke a blunt because God put it there. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, look introspectively at yourself when it comes to the morality of it. Is this something that you can afford to do? Is this something that's conducive to the purpose that God has put on your life? Is this something that's going to lead you to somewhere that's going to lead you to death? Right. Now, if you're being honest with yourself and you answer those questions, you do what you feel that you, but just know that long as you're ready for whatever you're going to have to answer to, whatever you do, you're going to have to answer to that at the end of your life. So do you want to take the chance of a blunt being what keeps you in and out of heaven? And what I mean by that is, a blunt going to send you to hell? No. But what you do from that blunt, could that send you to hell? Yes.
That goes back to James. That's where I was going with James 1 and 14 and 15, Dwayne. That's exactly it.
And, I think that's why I agreed, sir.
Yeah. Free moral agency is given to all men. We have the right. We've been given the right to choose.
Yes, indeed.
And then you have to live with the consequences of your decisions.
Right.
Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap.
Right.
That's just the reality. And I agree with you. Morality cannot be legislated.
Right.
It's free to all mankind. God gave it to us. Free moral agency. When it comes to this, and I agree with you, this is not a panel that says what you should do versus what you shouldn't do. This is a panel that says, here's what I've done.
I'm sorry, Pastor. I just read that comment.
I hadn't been putting it up there. I knew it when
What
I put
comment?
it up there. This one right here. You have to deny your entrance into heaven. You pass the blood quota by one blunt. See? I do.
To blunt or not to blunt? You being too blunt.
That is the question.
Right. So I think, to your point, Dwayne, yeah, you have to live with your decisions. Exactly. That's the reality. It goes back to all things are lawful, but not expedient. Right. I used to use this analogy. Kobe Bryant was one of the baddest men on the basketball court in his prime. Kobe Bryant was great at operating a laptop. He was great at both. Yeah. A laptop was used very productively in his life. Right. But if he had a laptop with him on the basketball court, he would not have been as productive on the court. It was lawful for him to have a laptop, but it wasn't expedient on the basketball court.
Right.
True.
Facts.
Right?
True.
It's within your rights to smoke weed, but it may not be expedient, to your point, Dwayne, to your purpose.
Right.
Exactly.
Facts.
Cool.
Hey, real quick before we slide out of here, if this is your first time in the broadcast, please put in first time in the broadcast. So that way we can acknowledge you down in the comments, because there's a couple of names that I haven't seen, or I'm old. I probably don't remember. But it's the first time in the broadcast. Please put it in the comments. And I don't know if AD is going to expound on the membership possibilities with the Buzz of Legacy, but if you want one of these cool T-shirts, you might want to look into it. Just saying.
We got a 2021 version coming out. We got a 2021 version.
This is the 20 version. Yeah.
20.
I know it's gonna be
that new Buick. Yeah.
I need to get me bro. I need to get me one, because this get over it T-shirt. I gotta make sure mine look like that little icon up in the corner there. I need,
yeah.
All right. Make sure you join. You'll be in the private chat, the after chat.
We cut up more in the private chat than we do on live. I'm telling you, you might want to get on that.
You'll get an opportunity.
We try to be PC here,
right? Yeah. and see some more stuff. But we appreciate you guys rocking with us.
Absolutely.
With us. I know this is a sticky conversation, but I like that.
Was that a pun?
Huh?
Was that a pun?
Of course it was.
you know one of the names for weed is that sticky.
Yeah, we've been hiding the VIP. Hey, Sidebush, thank you. See, Sidebush this was our first time.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming. We really appreciate you.
Make sure you follow on Periscope. Yeah, make sure you follow. We have
please
conversations every day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m.
Yes, we do.
And we appreciate you hanging out with us. He said we've been hiding the VIP. It's just opened up.
Hey, has Pastor been working out? Or is it just me? No, like for real.
Don't do that. Pastor Brian been swole. You playing?
No,
games.
I know that. But look.
Let's take a look. Yes, look a little swolish.
No, I have not been working out, man. Matter of fact, I need to get on it.
All right, so
we'll
see you guys tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. And we appreciate you guys. Make sure you share, and it's still an opportunity to share. If you're watching,
appreciate you, brother.
If you watched it all the way to the end, definitely. He was the doorman.
He the doorman.
So we see you guys tomorrow. Take care. I know we don't like it, but wear your mask. Be safe. 6 feet. I know all the conspiracies. Somebody did it, but it's still here. So be safe. Be safe. Be safe. All right. So take care, guys.
I want to. didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another Good morning, everybody.